Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Girls Frontline 2 video. Let's talk about Florence, and I think this is going to be a very important one moving forward because I think a lot of players are a little bit confused in whether or not they should be getting Florence for them. Alright, so hopefully in this video I can try to give you guys a little bit of perspective comparatively between Florence and the next character, which is perhaps going to be Lin. Now it's not fully confirmed yet, but in the most recent tease by Mo, you can see right here she did say something like the next doll has something to do with poison. Alright, so she did tease a little bit at the end of the Valiant Island Emergency Shelter broadcast episode 8. Now that is pretty much what we have right now, right? So Lin is probably going to be the only one that makes sense, and she is going to be exclusively that character right there. So it makes perfect sense to just compare, try to pay attention to her as well, because she is going to be very beneficial to the Corrosion team. So let's talk about Florence first, and then I'll try to give you guys a little bit of perspective moving forward. So first things first, Florence is going to come alongside with a Cui Hua rerun. So Cui Hua, I think, is still going to be a decent character. She's going to be a very strong, a burn team DPS, but a little bit of her downside is she's very reliant on getting V6, right? If you are looking into that, then sure, she's gonna be one of the top DPS in the game, but in all cases, if you are just getting her for V0, Cheongju is still going to do more damage. Now the thing is, right, so keep in mind, one thing that she still can be used and can be useful in Phase Clash. I don't know how many of you guys are going to pull specifically for Phase Clash, but you guys know Phase Clash is going to require you to have certain elements, right? And she's good right there to have a shotgun character in the fire team to help you destroy the rocks, and it seems like they've been putting that recently a bunch, right? So that's pretty much mainly her usage if you get her for V0. Now as for Florence, she is going to somewhat belong in the Hydro team, and that is pretty much where she shines. Now right now we have quite a number of characters that's pretty much going to be consistent in the Hydro team, right? So I believe most of you guys probably know by now, Nikita is going to be one of the top ones. She's going to be the one that's being used a lot. Now alongside with her, we also have Tololo. So she's going to be pretty much consistently, you will see her in every single Hydro team because she's free, easily accessible to a lot of players. She's just one of the best solution for Hydro team, right? And of course, the core, the most important character by far is going to be Springfield. Now Springfield is going to be the backbone of the Hydro team, and she's going to be there completing the entire roster, and everything is going to be built around her. Now Florence is going to be another support that can heal with a little bit of a different approach. Now the truth is, Florence doesn't really replace Springfield. Springfield is still pretty much core. She's still going to be the most important one. You can probably in most cases get away with not having Florence, but it's going to depend on how relevant or how important whether or not you want to complete the Hydro team, right? So I would say right now, if you're looking at a team, it's going to be Springfield, Tololo, and then we're going to have Nikita, and then you're going to have Florence as the 4th member, and then the 5th member is going to be Zhao Hui, which I do not have, but that's pretty much what it is. So that's going to be the Hydro team for the time being. Obviously, there's a chance that Zhao Hui is going to be the first one to go, depending on whether or not eventually they might introduce more options for that, right? So let's talk about Florence. So what can she do overall, and whether or not you should be getting her weapon, etc. The truth is, right now she is going to have a very cool looking costume. Of course, Solo is going to have that as well. So she is going to be a very unique character because she's pistol, right? I'm a big fan of that. So it's been a while since we have like a 5-star pistol characters. We have plenty of 4-star that uses pistol, right? We have Colfin, we got Ksenia, we got Mosin. I mean Nagan, not Mosin Nagan, but the regular Nagan. So there's always going to be plenty of characters right there. But right now you can see her basic skill. She is going to be just doing the basic stuff, just doing damage there. Skill 1, she is going to select Tar within 6 radius, cleanses 2 debuffs, alright, that's going to be pretty cool, alright, she can do that, but again, Springfield can also do that, right, so that part is not really that unique, but she can restore HP right there. So, she got Skill 2, Pleasure Trigger. Selects 1 ally, alright, within 6 tile, cleanse the fear and taunt, very important, and applies this thing called Stimulant. And then you're also going to consume HP equivalent to 20% of initial HP. Now, what is this stimulant, what is this going to give to this particular ally, right? Stimulant at the end of the action consumes HP equal to 20% of the HP. Alright, so basically whoever that gets that buff, you're gonna sacrifice 20% of your HP. Alright, for every 1% initial HP loss, increase damage dealt by 0.5%. So that means 10% increase in damage, right? And turbid damage dealt by 0.5%, that one is going to be very cool, up to a maximum of 20% each. This is considered a turbid type debuff and cannot be dispelled. Surprisingly, this is a debuff rather than a buff. Very, very interesting. So she is going to be able to hyper buff one character in that team. Now, if you have like V6 Nikita, right? Or if you have like a V6 Springfield maybe, you can basically, it's kind of obvious, right? You can get Florence and you can definitely benefit from it, right? Because you're gonna hyper buff the damage even more. But for somebody who is just like a super free to play, you have like V0 Nikita or V1, and then you have like V1 Springfield, and then your Tololo is like V2, you probably don't really benefit from Florence that much, right? But maybe you can count as a future proofness, right? That could be like something that you can do in the future. Now, the last skill, the ultimate skill, that's going to be the important one, applies Confusion Agent for 2 turns and Infatuated for 1 turn to all enemies within this 3x5 area right here, and of course deals AoE turbid, damage equivalent to 80% of attack. Alright, so increase Convectance Index by 6 points and teleports Arios, which is the bear. Alright, if Arios is not on the field, summons Arios after skill usage. So depending on if Arios is there or not. Now if you like Florence and you like the bear, you like to play with summon characters, that could be something to consider as well, because we might probably like divert into mono team. From mono team into like something like a summon team in the future, right? Because we got Papasha, we got something like a Springfield can summon the bird, and then we got right now Arios from this particular thing. We're gonna have probably more and more of these kind of characters. Perhaps in the future, that would be the direction that we're gonna try to shift towards if we're trying to have a different concept overall, right? Now for Arios the bear, basically at the start of the battle, you are going to summon Arios and decrease Convectance Index by 3 points. If there's insufficient Convectance Index, Arios will disappear. At the end of action, cleanse the Taunt, Fear, Stun from Arios. Alright, that's going to be pretty cool. So keep in mind, Arios scales off Florence's initial HP, initial attack, and of course initial defense. Alright, has the ability to taunt on the enemy, takes damage on behalf of Florence, and performs counter attack when Florence or itself receive damage. So that's going to be one thing to consider. You want to send him to the front and just counter attack along the way, right? He can also apply taunt as well, so that can be very, very useful. I feel like this is going to add much more like versatility into the combat altogether. The passive for this Arios bear is when Florence takes damage, Arios will take all damage on behalf of her. So this is going to be pretty interesting, alright? If the distance between Arios and Florence is 6 or more tiles, Arios will be teleported to near Florence. So as you can see, pretty much this is going to be what it is, right? With this particular bear in the equation. Now, if you are pulling for Florence as a free-to-play, I feel like she's pretty much a one copy character. Just get her at V0, that's going to be what it is. Now, at V1, you can see what this does is decrease Convectance Index consumption by 1 point. That means you don't consume that much, alright? Increase the number of counter attack performed by Arios by 2 times. So this is going to increase your overall damage a little bit more. This is going to allow Florence to use a skill 2 more frequently. Now, if you want to go that, sure, I can see, you know, for some people that are trying to like get the highest score possible, I guess every damage matters. But in my opinion, if you are like of a lesser like free-to-play player, I don't think that should be a priority, right? Because there's just way better option to basically pour your resources into. Now V3 ensures 100% uptime on Stimulant, as Florence can use ultimate without Stimulant running out of duration. Now that sounds really, really cool, but at V3 territory, personally I would rather V3 something like Springfield or, you know, Nikita in that case. But I guess if you really like Florence, that could be something that you can lean into. Again, it's going to make her more efficient in battle, and then for V6 she's going to do even more damage. Now this is going to be if you are trying to just wail all in on Florence. Now how good is she generally in terms of the investment elsewhere, right? In terms of her build, straightforward. If you want to pull for a weapon, which is Yasuo, alright, you can consider that. Alright, this is going to be a handgun, but it's not needed. Alright, you can pretty much use Hestia. That's going to be a free-to-play option. Papa Figo is going to be there as well. And if you don't have any one of these, you just want to try your luck in the weapon banner, you can try to go with a 4-star, right? Which is this particular one. So that's going to be that. I don't think her weapon is going to be I guess it's decent, right? If you are trying to basically get more for your Hydro team, I would say this is a decent option. But in most cases, I don't think a lot of this is going to be something that you really need. Now, she's pretty much going to be built as a DPS character. Alright, you are building her as a... You know, her attachments is going to be Hydro boost. You give her attack percent, attack, crit rate percent, crit damage percent, those things, right? So you pretty much build her as a DPS character, unless you want to build her tanky for whatever reason. But in most cases, because the bear can basically counter attack, so it does benefit her a lot, right? So you can see here, fixed key, this is going to be the recommendation to give her the Convertex index because she's going to need that a lot, right? Because her skill consumes a lot of those. One more is going to be the one that applies the defense down, and of course, when Arios performs counter attack, it gains attack up 2. Alright, that's going to be very important, and give her a little bit more damage in most cases. Now, should you pull for Florence? This is going to be the very important conversation in comparison of Florence versus upcoming character, which is going to be Lyn. Now, Lyn is going to, in my opinion, alright, based on what I've seen so far, she does provide more to the Corrosion team compared to Florence to the Hydro team. Now, that's not to say that Florence is weak, it's just Hydro team is really strong right now with Nikita, Tololo, and of course, Springfield, alright? So obviously you can't really make like 5 of them. You can still mix in with some other character, you know, you can put like a Hydro mix Corrosion and stuff like that. But Corrosion, I think, is going to shine way more, and it's going to be much easier for a lot of players to try to pull for Lyn, just because Gluke is going to be one of the main characters that a lot of players pull for, and I think a lot of, you know, some of you guys have V6 of Gluke, some of you guys have V3 of Gluke, and I think it benefits most players more, right? Personally, if I'm on a very tight budget, I'm just gonna save for a Lyn, and I think you might not want to pull for too much because like after Lyn, maybe there's a chance that we could be getting 2 banners again, because I believe that's going to be pretty much Girls for Night 2's first anniversary for global. So you guys might want to wait a little bit, right? I don't know, like, what if they do something crazy and, oh, it's anniversary time, we're gonna give you 3 banners, right? So they could go something like that. Who knows, right? So it could be something like insane. You can't really predict Mika nowadays, right? So that's pretty much what it is. So Florence, I think, still a solid character. Maybe get 1 copy if you want to, and get 1 copy for Lyn, and then start saving for the anniversary. Because if Leva was to come, or is to come, right? I would recommend Leva more, because she's going to be the go-to for electric team. She's like the Gluke equivalent of the electric team characters, right? Or DPS. So that's going to be what it is. Again, no idea who's going to come, but we gotta wait and see, because that's going to be the anniversary. With that being said, that's going to be it for this particular video. Let me know what you guys think of all of these characters. Who are you guys planning to get, or who are you guys planning to pull? With that, I'll see you guys again very soon. Take care. I'm going to go do Face Clash. That's going to take very long. Have a nice day. Goodbye.